Please do not post your referral code in the comment section below. Otherwise, Santa Claus will leave you a gift that you do not want. Hi guys, Jaybo785 here. I'm going to be talking about a lot of the current events that are going on with the Rage of Bahamut game and how that affects you as a player. Let me start off by saying that a new update was released today, or I'm sorry, not a new update, but a new announcement was released today by the Rage of Bahamut staff, basically stating something that honestly kind of upset me, and should upset veteran players especially. Now, I'm going to read this word for word, and basically, I recommend that you just get on your Rage of Bahamut game and hit the homepage button and take a look at that. So it says, "Greeting, thanks you for playing Rage of Bahamut. We plan to revamp the way that skills work in the Rage of Bahamut starting December 26. Please note that there are two changes. Skills activate more often based on skill level. Besides the leader card, which has a 100% probability of skill usage, skill levels of the card will determine the probability of skill usage. Therefore, the higher the skill level of a card, the higher the probability that the skill will be used. Please also note that the maximum amount of skills used per battle is 3 per slide." And then this is the one that really got me. Identical skills activate less often. Identical skills used in the same battle activate less often. For example, if the first skill to activate is skill A, then the probability that another card's skill A will activate is reduced. If skill A activates twice, the probability of it activating a third time is reduced even further. This means that the probability of using the overall same skills in one battle is reduced overall. This will only affect decks that have identical cards. Different skills which happen to have the same skill effect will be treated separately and won't have their properties reduced. And then it gives an example using the Bahamut card. So, what this means is cards that run all of the same card, like this, the first effect, which is always 100%, is going to go off, and it's fine. But normally, I think the second, and I'm sorry guys, I never remember these total percentages, second skill effect, which is like 70%, and third skill effect, which is around 50%, is then reduced further than those percentages if it's the same card and the same skill, okay? Now, there's a couple exceptions to that, being Holy War cards, like Wallbusters, Point Booster cards, and I'm sure that there's a couple others that are exclusive just for Holy Wars. Those cards get to keep those same effects, which I think is good because with the Luminous Knight and then the God and Demon version of that card having just been released and people spending a lot of money on that, I as a customer would be very pissed off having spent money on those packs to get that card. But I still think it's very unfair to veteran players that have spent the time, the money, the effort, and, you know, just the grindingness of hunting down those cards to get 5 Paladins, 5 Lances, 5 whatever's in their deck to have just one solid deck like that, a very competitive deck, which has now probably greatly been reduced in its efficiency. So, you as a player, you know, I might be wondering, what's this going to do to the prices of the cards? And I'll get into that a little bit more, and it could benefit you, it might not benefit you, but this is pretty much how I view this. You know, your first and second card, you definitely want those to be different from your third, fourth, and fifth deck. For example, what I'm planning on doing with my deck now, because of this new update, first, you know, 100% effect, Lancelot. Second, Longest. And I'll give a little bit more details on those cards in just a second, guys. And then third, fourth, and fifth slot are going to be Paladins with a high skill level, okay, to try to increase that 50% to hopefully 60% or greater. And the reason I view that, guys, is you have 3 different cards for the first, second, and third slot, okay? And so these last 3 slots, since you only have 3 cards skills effects go off, it's not going to really hurt it, because you got this first one that always goes off, and there's a probability that these next 4 cards might go off. The chances of that third, fourth, and fifth card going off compared to that second card, because the percentages are so much lower, it's greatly reduced. So, if you're like me and if you have 3 Paladins in your defense deck, you don't have to completely freak out and try to sell all off, you know, 2 of those 3 off, because you should be fine. And I hope that kind of explains my reasoning. I hope that you're able to follow me on that. So, let's take a look at cards like Longest. Now, Longest is a great boost, I think, to all man cards. I'm sorry, all defense cards compared to Lancelot's, which is a great boost to all man cards. So you think Longest would be better. Even taking a look at its skills here. So let me find the damn thing. You can see Lancelot is 20,186, and it's unfortunately not on this list, but it's very comparable. It's actually better defense, and if it's a big boost or a great boost to all, then why wouldn't you consider this card better? It's because of the way that the boost percentages work. Unfortunately, cards that select all cards and not a specific realm actually boost about 5% less. So where Lancelot gives a 13% boost, I believe, maybe more, and I'm apologizing if I'm not getting that percentages right, guys. Wiki Rage of Bahamut is actually down right now, otherwise I would bring that up. Then this card gets a 5% less boost, which when you factor it 3 times, okay, especially when you're involving level 10 skill cards, that makes a humongous difference after that third boost. So, unfortunately, it is a weaker card unless you're using a multicultural deck. But what I'm expecting is cards like Longest, because you're going to see cards that were running 5 Lances or running 5 Paladins. This card now has a better place, and actually you might see a rise in its price because there's going to be more warrant for it, which I'm actually looking at picking one of these up, and the prices for the card's effect, for its skill level, and you know, basically for its power is actually pretty reasonable on Bazaar. I saw a level 6, I'm sorry, a skill level 6 one of these go for about 310 HP on the Bazaar, and it had around 23,000 defense, and excuse me if I'm quoting that wrong, but it was a pretty reasonable price for its skill level. What you're going to see is maybe cards like Master Archer, which also kind of played in the same realm compared to Claymore Maid, making a rise in its price. Again, it's a great boost to all, so it's the same skill, but it's actually 5% less in percentage. Maybe taking one of those slots of people that were running Claymore Maids. I know people that were running 3 Claymore Maids and then 2 Achilles in the 4th and 5th slot, but because of this new update, they might run a Claymore Maid in that first slot and maybe a Master Archer in that second slot, or they might unfortunately have to spend a lot of money and go ahead and go from that SR to an SSR card, which, looking at the Bazaar, you can see the massive jump in price. So cards like Lancelot, you might see a dump on those prices, which has actually gone down quite a bit over the last 6 months. But cards like King Arthur, you actually might see even go higher because of the demand for them being even more so. Because they're looking at something to replace that Lancelot that has a better effect, rather than going for something that's similar but less, like the Longest, to replace that Lancelot. So I'm hoping that you're able to follow me on that. King Arthurs are extremely expensive. You don't typically see these selling on the Bazaar straight for HP. They're typically looking for the same version of a different realm for this card. So keep an eye out for that. If you have the HP, it is a risk. It is a gamble. I could be completely wrong on this guy saying that this card is going to get more expensive, but very well it might be a good investment. Unless, of course, Rage of Bahamut staff continues to release more cards, hoping that its consumers will buy that to replace the cards that they unfortunately had to get rid of. Which, I'm all for a company making money and doing it legitimately and treating its customers fairly. But when just a few months ago they released something like a Sector, which is a Holy War card, and then just recently released something like a Luminous Knight, which is just a tiny bit stronger and its skills just a tiny bit better, but it completely changes the nature of the game since it's an absolute or nothing, it's a pass or fail type of game, then you can see where I'm pretty disappointed in it. It's essentially the exact same thing, just a tiny bit better. Doesn't change the nature of the game very much. It doesn't change the fun at all, but instead you have to spend a lot of money to still be competitive, which I think is bullshit, because this game is supposed to be about having fun. So, went over all that. Great Trade Black Spots is a very good website. Unfortunately, it has not been updated for a very long time. But if you're wanting to get on there and check the stats and skills of a lot of these cards, and guys, it actually gives a very good definition of the old version of how skill effects work and leveling up skills, which I recommend that you get on there, take a look at it. It's still a very useful website. One other thing, boss fighting decks like Axe Masters, which I have 3 or 4 of these things now, which are great for my brand realm and help me compete against or help me compete against events where you have to fight bosses. Um, yeah, this is essentially worthless now. If only one of these skills are going to go off. So you're going to see this card, which unfortunately has had a dramatic drop in price, go down even further, which is really disappointing. And they'll probably release another version of this damn thing. I recommend don't buying it. In fact, what I recommend is if you've spent any money on this game, and if you didn't get your refund the first time when the bazaar came out and all the trade restrictions came out, get it now. Get your money back now. And if you want to spend it on more card packs, that's your choice. Or if you want to take that money and maybe buy something nice for your family for Christmas, or make a donation, or do something like that, I think that would be a much better choice of those funds. So we're also going to talk about the new event that's coming out. It's the Not So Silent Night. Unfortunately, guys, there's not a lot of information out on this this event yet. I have been looking. This is what looks like to be the banner card, which if it's like the Master of Puppets, it's going to be a pretty worthless freaking card. I don't speak Japanese. I don't know what NDA, Down for All Tributes, means in effect, or if that even means that they've figured out what the effect is. It's skills gift box. It looks like the defense is higher than the attack, so it's probably most likely a defense card. It's a demon realm, so maybe it's a demon version of the Master Golem or whatever that card was called. So it's pretty freaking worthless. I think those cards go for like 3 HP or just a couple Cure Water on the Bazaar system now. But down here it says, this card of Christmas events of Christmas Eve is only available as a reward and events for defeat of the boss for floor 50 and floor 100. So I'm guessing that it's going to probably be like a Tears of the Moon event, which is more Cure Water focused than HP, with maybe a little bit of HP introduced. I doubt it's going to be like the Halloween event where you're fighting a lot of bosses and trying to rack up a lot of points like that. I'm thinking that this is just going to be more of a Cure Water focused one. Could be wrong. Again, guys, don't know a lot of information about this, and I'll try to update that as I get it. So, that pretty much sums up this video. If it's helped you out, and if you have an extra device, or if you're a new player planning on joining, please use my referral code RUM26800. That gets you free rare card, does the same for me. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please post them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer that as soon as possible. You can also contact me in-game, Jaybo785. I'm pretty busy studying for board exams right now, but again, I'll try to answer that in a timely manner. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for viewing. Be sure to comment and like and subscribe. This is Jaybo785 signing off.